Welcome to another video from Master Tutoring. So today we're going to talk about derivatives. So we are required to find the derivative of f of x, where f of x is equals to x to the power of 3 plus 4x squared plus 2x plus 7. Before we solve this question, let me bring your memory back on how to do differentiation. Let us look at the general rule here. General rule. Suppose we're given a function in terms of g of x, where g of x is the same as x to the power of n plus m x to the power of a plus k. So x here is a variable, so it stands for an unknown. We know a, n, and k. These are constants. So a constant in mathematics, whenever somebody says a constant, they're actually referring to a number. So it's an actual number. We know the actual value of that letter. So we know the actual value of this letter. If you come back to this one here, 7 is a constant because it's a number. It will never change. It will remain as 7. But as for x, it's a variable because it can stand for anything. It can vary. It can change to any value. The number next to an x here, we call it a coefficient, but then it is still a constant. It's a number itself. Same thing goes with the 4, the 3, and the 2. So coming back to this one here, this is a constant. It's a number. We know the actual value of that number. And also m, we know the actual value of that number. Same thing goes with n. Hence, I'm calling them constants. So now the rule says that if you find the first derivative of this given function, you have to take this exponent and drop it down here. So it's going to be a coefficient of x. But then now after dropping it down, you have to subtract 1 again from that exponent there. So let's do that part for now. G prime of x is going to be n times x to the power of n minus 1. Simple as that. So you take this exponent, you drop it down here. Now coming to this one here, you do the same thing. You take the exponent and drop it down. But then when you drop it down here, because there's already another constant, there's already another number, or there's a coefficient of x, you have to multiply the two numbers out. So now when you do that, it's going to be plus m times a x to the power of a minus 1. So remember, after dropping it down, we have to subtract 1. The derivative of a constant is equal to 0. So therefore, the k, when you differentiate it, it's going to be 0 there. So we say plus 0. So wherever there's a constant, there's a number standing on its own. If it does not have an x next to it, when you differentiate it, it becomes a 0. This is basically what we're going to apply on this question that we have here. So we are required to find the first derivative. You take this 3 and drop it down. This is going to be 3x to the power of 3 minus 1. Plus, you take this 2 again and drop it down. So this is going to be 4. Because there's already a 4 there, so we have to multiply the 4 and the 2. It's going to be 4 times 2 x to the power of 2 minus 1. So this is similar to what we did here. We took this exponent down, and then because there was an m there already, we had to multiply them. So you see, m times n, or maybe if you're not familiar with this dot multiplication, I can just put a multiply there. And then we subtract 1 again, so which is similar to what we did here. And then we have another one here, which is 2x, right? The x itself, because there's no exponent written there, you know in math that you have to assume that there's an imaginary 1 floating in the air there, somewhere there. So therefore we take that 1, we drop it down, and then we say minus 1. So doing that, it's going to look like this. 2 times 1, x to the power of 1 minus 1, plus, and then now, once again, the derivative of a constant is equal to 0. Just like we did there, this was a k sitting on its own, it became a 0. So because this one is a 7 on its own, there's no x next to it, it will become a 0. So we say plus 0. So now simplifying this further, it's going to look like 3 x, 3 minus 1, I'm doing the exponent now, 3 minus 1 is going to be 2, plus 4 times 2 is 8, and then 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is going to be 8x. We don't have to write the exponent there. I mean, you can write it if you want, but it's not a need because we know that there's an imaginary 1 there. And then you say plus 2 times 1 is 2, times x to the power of 0. And then the plus 0, we don't have to include it anymore because it's just a 0. Therefore, when you simplify this further, you're going to have 3x to the power of 2 plus 8x plus. Now, we know that each and every number, if it has an exponent of 0, that number is equal to 1 itself. So because here we have x to the power of 0, this will become just a 1. So we're going to end up with 2 times 1. F of prime x is equal to 3x squared plus 8x plus 2. This is your answer. Leave a comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.